it's Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me because today is going to be a fun one. So, as per usual, I am going to start off with some basic supplies. So, I have some kids fun foam here. This happens to be the 3mm thick fun foam. Now, I do find the thicker fun foam the better for this. However, 2mm works perfectly, and if you only have 1mm, it's easier if you pop it up on a second layer of it as well. But whatever you have, I'm sure is going to work. This is, it doesn't matter what color it is. This is obviously yellow. It can be any color under the sun. That's not going to affect whatever we are doing. I have my pair of fussy cutting scissors. These are the Cutter Bee scissors, and it really does make a difference to have a good pair of fine tipped scissors. Now I'm going to cut this kind of squiggly sun shape. I don't really even know what to call this. It really is just a squiggly in and out sort of shape. It looks like a paint splatter, or I don't know, something along those lines. You'll see in just a minute. And I know at this point you're thinking she might have lost it. This might be the card that she's actually going off the rails. So I promise you, this is actually a really fun technique, and I was surprised with the results that I get just by these shapes. Now I'm going to attach this onto an acrylic block. Now I just use a piece of double-sided tape. I just tear a little piece off. It can be bigger, smaller, whatever than the image, and then pop it on there. And then with the next piece, I'm going to cut out a petal shape. Now there's no rhyme or reason as to how thick, how wide, how tall I'm making this. I mean, you'll see in just a minute that you can really do any shape at all. And then I shape it to how I want it to be. And then from here, I thought I would add a little bit of detail onto the petal. So I have this molding tool here. It's got a fine little ball on the end of it. But of course, you could actually just use anything with a pointy tip to make some marks. Like any mark making tools for clay making or molding or anything like that is going to work perfectly. I am doing some extremely basic straight lines here. You'll see in just a second when I hold it up to the camera. These lines don't have to be deep at all because I promise you they will show up nonetheless. Now this foam stamps beautifully. Kids Fun Foam stamps absolutely beautifully, and that is why I'm going to use it today. So these gorgeous organic shapes that we are going to be able to use and reuse, I'm going to use them with some VersaFine clear ink. Now I've chosen for this one Cheerful and Summertime, which is an orange and a yellow, quite a bright yellow. And for the kind of squiggly splatter shape, bear with me, I'm going to stamp this once, and then I'm actually going to ink it up and stamp it again, but rotate it so it fills it in. This is actually going to be the center of our flower. Now, even like that, I think this looks gorgeous. I think this is a really cool shape. So when it comes to the petals, I want these to be a lighter strength. So there's a full strength, and then there is a second generation stamp, and I think I like the second generation one better. It is going to be just a little bit less intense. So I'm going to go around this, making sure that I use only the second generation stamping for the petals. I know this kind of feels like wasted ink up the top, but nonetheless, this is giving me the look that I need. You can see that those marks that we made in the fun foam are showing through beautifully. There is no need for perfection. It doesn't have to be perfect. I think this just looks really good, and you can kind of just, it doesn't matter at the end whether you end up overlapping a little bit. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, and this one worked out really well. So we're going to do some variations on this. I originally cut a petal which I thought was a pretty thick, a pretty wide petal. So this one I decided to try and make a little bit thinner, finer, and a little bit longer. So this time around I also decided to change up the marks, and I'm going to do kind of like a little crisscross pattern, pretty fine crisscross pattern. You could go to town. You could do love hearts, you could do circles, you can do squiggles, you can do dots, you can do, I mean, anything you want to draw you can pop on in there. And then I get another acrylic block and pop this one on there too. Now the best thing about these is that these are all reusable. They clean off perfectly well if you use a damp cloth, and you're going to get no crossover from the colours at all. So I stamped the inside twice, and I did turn it, but I thought I would add a couple more extra little bits there just to fill in some of the gaps that I had. Then I am going to do the second generation stamping as well. Now you certainly don't have to use pigment inks for this. However, I have found that the VersaFine clear inks stamp absolutely beautiful. They're my most reliable stamping inks and I love them for this. Actually, just a few videos ago I did a review and an overview of the VersaFine clear inks and which ones I would advise, in my personal opinion, would be good to start with. So if you want to check out that video, I will try and remember to link that below. Otherwise, it's not very far back from the videos that I have released anyhow. I also actually have one of the same for Distress Oxide inks, just to give you a little bit of direction and a review and showing you some of the techniques that they are able to do for the different types of inks, just in case you are starting out and you would like a little bit of guidance on which inks might be good for which techniques. Now here I decided to create a bigger splotchy thing in the middle, the center to the flower. Again, when I turned it, I thought it needed another one, so I add a third one and that looks just fine. Now I'm going to use the petal that we used at the very beginning for the yellows. I gave it a wipe with a wet cloth and there is no crossover, no contamination, and this is going to stamp perfectly. I am doing second generation stamping again with the charming pink color. Now for this one, because all of these are straight onto card bases, so I'm able to just create these cards. They are so quick and so easy, and this would be perfect for batch making these, and I just think this would be so easy. Even kids would love this. So I did add a few more down the corners of that one just for something a little bit different. This one I'm going to give this a little wipe off so that I can use a different color. So after it had the pink on it, I just want to wipe it off, and then all I do to test it is just stamp it down on a piece of paper and it should stamp clean. It may stain the fun foam, but it's not going to contaminate or crossover. So you can see it stamps really nicely on both sides, and I'm ready to create my next design. Now, at this point, I actually could have gone on a massive tangent. So I'm thinking of creating a whole nother video with where I went with this other thing, but it would have made this video way too long. So let me know if you are interested in finding out on the tangent that I went on. And if so, I will take the footage from that one and create another video, but I cut it out of this one. And I used the first inner circle splotch to make the inside of the flower, and then I have come back to this the second petal that we created, and I'm going to make this one with the blues now. Again, I'm appreciating the second generation stamping. I do think that I have the a lighter blue in some dye inks or some Distress Oxides, so you can definitely try it, but I think I was just on my little pigment ink journey at the minute, and these are what I prefer for fun foam stamping, but dye inks and hybrid inks do work. So definitely give whatever you have in your stash a go first. Now, when it comes to finishing these off, and I think these look absolutely stunning as is. I mean, I tried 3 different kind of looks here, some with the smaller inner flowers, some with the larger inner, and yeah, just different petals and a few extra things down the other corners, and we are going to turn these really quickly into cards. So I have this stamp set. This is the Big Birthday Words from the Woodware Craft Collection. I'm going to use a couple of these. Now at this point, when I had done so much of the cards already, if I were to use any other ink except VersaFine Clear, I would be using my stamping platform without question. However, my VersaFine Clears are the only ones that I will stamp a sentiment like this and just know that I will get perfect stamping results. So with this one, I'm not afraid to do it. I'm stamping out birthday wishes in this gorgeous little scripty font, and then it's going to fit really nicely in between the flowers there, and I've got a perfect transferred image. Now I'm using the same colors that I used to create the flowers, so I'm using the darker ink, so the darker blue on the right hand one, and then for this one I'm using the Purple Delight, which is what I stamped the inside, the inner flower with, for the other happy birthday. Now for the last one here with the yellow and orange flower, I'm going to use a stamp set called Belated Birthday because I really like this one. It says happy a teeny weeny little bit late birthday, and this one is one of the cards that usually goes first in my collection, honestly, when my family and friends have open access to my card collection and my card stash, and they just come in and grab whatever they need whenever they are here, and they usually take and walk away with a handful or so, and this one always goes first. I guess this definitely applies, and it's very easy to just end up a day or two late when you are sending out birthday cards, or especially when you're sending them in the mail. So this one is a popular one. Now I am going to take a white gel pen and add in a few details into the center here. These cards don't need a whole lot in my opinion. You could get really crafty and create all sorts of different patterns using the gel pens for these ones. It's showing up brilliantly on those bright colors in the center, but I just decided to do a little bit of decoration and then a little swirl on the final one as well. But other than that, we created these stamps using kids fun foam and these gorgeous VersaFine clear inks. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video today. I hope you are inspired by it. As usual, I will leave links to everything down in the description box below, but other than that, I look forward to seeing you in the next video.